Hey everyone, welcome to Startup Pulse, your daily dose of all the latest gossip from the Indian startup world. I'm your host Venus, your go-to for all things startups.
And I'm Pluto, here to keep things interesting and ask the questions you are all thinking. Venus, what's brewing in the startup pot today?
Oh Pluto, we've got quite the storm in a coffee cup today. Third Wave Coffee, one of India's beloved specialty coffee chains, is in some hot water. And in the education sector, there's some major buzz about Unacademy possibly merging with K12 Techno, the folks behind Kids International Schools.
Wow! Coffee drama and education mergers? This sounds juicy. Let's dive right in.
So, let's start with Third Wave Coffee. Recently, there's been quite a shake-up at the company. Employees at their Bengaluru office were hit with unexpected layoffs. This was just 3 months after they raised $35 million in funding.
Wait, hold up. They raised a ton of money and then laid people off? What's going on there?
Exactly, Pluto. The layoffs came as a shock because the company was on an expansion spree, opening new outlets across the country. But it seems like their rapid growth wasn't sustainable. Around 70% of their outlets are losing money, which is a huge red flag.
That's wild. Who's pulling the strings at Third Wave Coffee?
Sujeet Kumar, the co-founder of Udaan, is a major player here. With backing from WestBridge Capital, he's been calling the shots. Despite being the largest individual shareholder after the founders, it seems like even he couldn't steer the company away from these turbulent waters.
Sounds like they need a serious turnaround strategy. But let's talk about something else. I heard there's big news in the edtech world.
Yes, indeed. Unacademy is reportedly in talks to merge with K12 Techno, the company behind Kids International Schools. If this merger goes through, it could be the first major consolidation in the edtech space, which has been struggling with a funding drought for the past 2 years.
That's interesting. So, Unacademy wants to merge with K12 Techno. Why now?
Unacademy has had its eye on K12 Techno for a while. They even tried to acquire them back in 2021. Now, with both companies sharing a common investor in Peak 15, the merger talks have rekindled. Both would hold a 50% stake in the new entity if the deal goes through.
Makes sense. And how are these companies doing financially?
Well, K12 Techno posted a revenue of 382 crore rupees in FY23, though they had a loss of 39 crore rupees. They're expecting better numbers this year. Unacademy, on the other hand, raised $440 million in their last round and have been improving their finances, showing a significant jump in operating revenue.
This could be a game changer for both. Any word from the companies themselves?
K12 Techno has declined to comment, and Unacademy hasn't responded yet. So, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out.
Exciting times ahead. Now, let's shift gears and talk about today's funding highlights.
Sure thing. In our startup funding segment, we've got some interesting updates. Alive Health raised $5.5 million in a series round led by Acceler Ventures with participation from One Crowdfund. Landed, a proptech startup, secured strategic funding from Paradigm Shift VC, though the amount is undisclosed. Aina, a generative AI startup from Bengaluru, raised $1.5 million in seed funding led by Inflexer Ventures. And lastly, Greylabs AI, a speech analytics platform for financial institutions, secured over $1.5 million in a seed round led by Matrix Partners India.
Looks like there's still some money flowing into the ecosystem. Exciting times for these startups.
Absolutely, Pluto. Despite the challenges, innovation and investment are very much alive and kicking.
And on that note, it's a wrap for today's episode of Startup Pulse. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you tomorrow with more startup gossip. Until then, keep the entrepreneurial spirit alive.